Did ancient Egyptians have poor posture at work too? When we think of ancient Egypt, our minds often drift to grand monuments, intricate hieroglyphics, and the mysteries of mummification. We picture towering pyramids and the golden splendor of pharaohs. But what about the people whose hands shaped this civilization? Behind the splendor of the Nile, there were countless laborers, artisans, scribes, and farmers. Real people whose daily lives might be closer to our own than we think. One curious question often left out of our musings. Did ancient Egyptians struggle with poor posture while working, much like we do today? To understand this, we need to step back in time to examine how work looked in ancient Egypt. The division of labor ranged from building temples and monuments, tilling the fertile soil along the Nile, to creating intricate crafts and art. The variety of tasks was immense, but many were physically demanding, often requiring the laborer to remain in static or repetitive postures for long periods. Imagine the stonemasons, bent over with mallet and chisel, shaping massive limestone blocks. These workers spent long hours crouched, kneeling, or twisting their bodies in unnatural ways to carve each detail. Their tools were primitive by today's standards, copper chisels and stone hammers, requiring considerable physical force and precision. The stone dust and awkward bending would have taken a toll on their backs and shoulders, not unlike the repetitive strain injuries we see in modern construction workers today. Even scribes, who held a more respected position in society, faced posture challenges of their own. Scribes were instrumental in keeping records, and their workspace would have been a modest mat or low stool, their papyrus scroll resting on their knees or a wooden board. They often sat cross-legged or hunched over, leaning forward for hours as they recorded the affairs of the kingdom or transcribed sacred texts. Such prolonged positions would have led to discomfort and issues similar to what modern office workers experience. Think of today's hunched shoulders from typing on a laptop for hours. The ancient scribe, like a 21st century desk worker, likely suffered from what we now call text neck. Farmers, who made up the majority of the workforce, spent much of their time bent over in the fields, planting and harvesting crops. The Egyptian stoop, a posture involving bending from the waist with knees slightly bent, was a common sight among farmers working tirelessly on the fertile banks of the Nile. Unlike modern farming equipment, which allows for more efficient labor, ancient Egyptian farmers relied on simple hand tools, and their work demanded physical exertion in postures that would undoubtedly strain the lower back, hips, and knees. Interestingly, there is evidence that the ancient Egyptians themselves were well aware of the physical toll of their labor-intensive society. Wall reliefs and paintings from tombs often depict workers, laborers, and even artisans engaged in their craft. And these images offer a glimpse into the daily lives and physical stresses experienced by the working class. Medical papyri, such as the Edwin Smith Papyrus and the Ebers Papyrus, also provide us with fascinating insights. These ancient texts contain what are thought to be some of the earliest known medical prescriptions and descriptions of treatments for ailments, including musculoskeletal problems. The Edwin Smith Papyrus is, for example, contains references to injuries consistent with back pain and sprains, ailments one might expect from heavy lifting and awkward working positions. Treatments included massages with oils and herbs, which suggests an understanding of the need for physical therapy to relieve the body's discomforts. The ancient Egyptians also believed in maintaining a balance of physical health, perhaps as much for productivity as for well-being. It's possible that some of these massage techniques were administered by early forms of bone setting or manual therapy to relieve aches and pains resulting from poor posture. Ancient artwork also hints at the toll of poor posture and the physical demands of work. For example, statues of scribes often show them with rounded shoulders, a slightly forward-leaning head, and a soft midsection. Indications that prolonged sitting and hunched posture were common even then. These postural traits could reflect a life of leaning forward over writing materials, just as we see today in people who spend hours in front of computers or reading. It wasn't only the laborers who faced postural challenges. Royalty and the elite had their share as well. While their work was not physically demanding in the same way as that of artisans or farmers, reclining on lavish couches, being carried in palanquins, or even sitting on opulent thrones for extended periods had its own consequences. The elite may have had a more sedentary lifestyle, and without an ergonomic throne design in sight, they too may have experienced stiffness or poor posture from lounging in one position for too long. It's worth considering the broader context, too. The Egyptians placed great emphasis on the afterlife and took extensive measures to prepare for it, including equipping tombs with everyday items that would be needed beyond the mortal world. Tools, furniture, and even food were often included in these burial chambers. If physical health and comfort were concerns during their lifetimes, it's reasonable to believe they carried those concerns into their vision of the afterlife. Items related to relaxation and body care, such as headrests to keep the neck aligned, were among the artifacts placed in tombs, suggesting that even in death, the Egyptians sought to alleviate the discomforts experienced in life. So, did the ancient Egyptians struggle with poor posture at work? Absolutely. While their tasks differed vastly from those of the modern workforce, many of the physical challenges they faced resonate today. Laborers suffered from prolonged crouching and heavy lifting. Scribes dealt with back and neck strain from leaning forward to write. And even the elite experienced the pitfalls of poor sitting habits. It's a reminder that some things, like the impact of posture on our health, are truly timeless. Whether it's chiseling stone under a hot Egyptian sun or typing away at a desk in a temperature-controlled office, the importance of mindful posture and taking care of our bodies transcends the ages. While we now have ergonomic chairs, standing desks, and physical therapy to help combat the effects of poor posture, the ancient Egyptians had only the knowledge passed down from their ancestors, the wisdom of their healers, and the natural remedies available to them. It's fascinating to think that despite the vast technological advances separating us, we still share the same fundamental human struggle, finding the balance between work, posture, and well-being.